Hey everyone, hope you all are well. The first thing I'm doing today as always is priming the eye area. I'm adding a few swipes of the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion to the eye area, and then I'm using a synthetic brush now. This is a double-ended one that came with the Naked Honey eyeshadow palette, and I'm just using this to buff that primer all over the eye area, anywhere that I'll be adding shadow. So I'm taking another ABH palette this week. This time it's the Modern Renaissance palette, and the first shade I'm taking is called Golden Ochre. Now funnily enough, this palette is well loved. I've hit pan on multiple shadows, but this one was actually untouched. For how much I used to use the palette, I never actually used this shade, and I've no idea why, because it's lovely. It's a warm toned, dark, almost yellow shade, and it has a satin finish to it. I'm starting off by applying this shadow right into the crease, and this will act as my transition shade. It'll appear in the finished look like a halo over the other shadows, and it'll give me something to diffuse my other shadows into. And then I'm just using that shadow then once again down along the lower lash line with the use of a pencil brush, and I'm making sure to connect it up on that outer edge. Next then, I'm taking the eyeshadow called Burnt Orange. This was in the Soft Glam palette that I used last week, and a tone like this is always good to have because you can pair literally any colour with it. I'm adding this shadow now into the crease of the eye too, keeping it a little lower though. I'm not blending it up as high as the previous shade because I still want that obviously to be visible in the finished look. And as you can see, Burnt Orange has given us a nice bit of warmth now, a nice bit of depth. And I'm adding a couple of layers of this shadow just to build up the intensity. And once I'm happy with the blend, then I'm switching to my pencil brush once again, and I'm using that to fade some of this shadow down along the lower lash line. Next then, I'm taking the shade Warm Taupe. The name says it as it is. It's a warm medium taupe shade and it has a matte finish to it. And I'm really just kind of going back to basics here with this look today. I'm just showing you the benefit of layering your shadows. It may take a little more time, but in doing so, you're getting a really professional feel to your makeup look. You just could go in with a dark brown and a shimmer, but by putting in that little extra time and effort, it really does take your makeup to the next level. Plus, I'd actually argue it's easier to blend if you add in light layers, so a good technique for beginners to learn. If you're feeling like as well your edges are looking a little harsh and you're struggling to blend them out and you don't want to add more shadow to the mix, just then take a clean blending brush and buff around the edges, and this will literally just soften the shadow out into the skin. Once again then, of course, I'm sweeping some of that warm taupe shadow down along the lower lash line. I'm taking a smaller tapered brush now and I'm picking up some of that shade Cypress Umber, and I'm patting this down on the outer third of the eye, and then I'm slowly and carefully working the shadow up into and across the crease. And I feel like the Golden Ochre shade was the fade shade. Burnt Orange then adds a hint of warmth to the look. Warm Taupe then helps us start building depth, and finally Cypress Umber takes that depth to the next level. So I like to take my time with the shade because it's the darkest in the palette. I don't want to go overboard with it and kind of mess up all the blending work up until this point. That's the benefit also of using a small tapered brush. You've got more control with it when it comes to applying and blending shadow. So I've just built up this colour then in about 3 light layers just until I was happy with the finish. So I've blended across the crease, upwards and outwards on that outer corner, and I've just made sure that it's nice and soft and blended. Next then, I'm taking the shade Primavera, and this is a nice frosty light gold shade. I've picked this up on a flat C-shaped brush. I've sprayed my brush then with some water, and now I'm pressing this shadow across the eyelid for a little bit of sparkle. And I think this look is a really nice one for the festive season. It's simple, but it's impactful as well. So once I've added that shadow to the lid, then I'm going back in with my tapered brush, and I'm just using whatever is left on that brush just to fade the brown then in with the gold that I've just applied. Now I'm taking a angled brush and I'm using that Cypress Umber shade just down along the lower lash line. I'm pressing this into the lashes and dragging it slightly downwards just to give us that smoky feel. This shade I did get a little bit of fallout with, but nothing that my face powder can't clean up. And I'm also adding this to the upper lash line just on that outer corner as well. To line the waterline then, I'm taking this pencil from NARS. It's a brown and it's called Last Frontier. It's one that's much loved. So I'm using this inside the eye just to add a pop of brown to that area as well. And then I'm closing my eye around the pencil to line the upper and lower waterline at the same time. I've added some eyelid lashes. These ones actually are thicker on the outer corner, so it gives a nice lift to the eye. And then I'm using the Lancome Lash Shadow mascara just to blend my own lashes in with the false ones, and to also then coat the lower lashes as well. But then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you found it simple and easy to follow. If you did, please do let me know, and I'll catch you all in a video really soon.